Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome back to the channel. As we all know, Egypt is famous for many things, like its rich culture, its history, and the whole nine. However, over the years, Egypt has been getting a lot of attention because of its insane cheap cost of living. And for this reason, Egypt has become a very popular destination for many expats and digital nomads. And you yourself may have come across videos here on YouTube or on other platforms with people showcasing apartments and accommodations for as little as 80 and 85 US dollars. But is that really the case? So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down for you guys the real cost of living here in Egypt in 2025 right now. I'm going to be covering the average cost of things like rent, food, travel, transportation, and also schooling. So stay tuned. Okay, so first things first, we have housing. How much does rent cost here in Egypt? Egypt, just like everywhere else in the world, guys, has expensive areas and it has cheap areas. When I tell people certain prices of apartments here, people seem like they're so stunned, as if there's just one standard price. The average median price for a standard 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, furnished apartment here in Cairo, Egypt, more specifically in the Nasser City and New Cairo area, is $500. Now, I can already hear some of you guys in the comments, oh my God, that's so expensive, and no, it's only $100. And like I just said, people are ridiculous, right? Egypt is just like any other country. You have different standards of living in different areas, right? Of course, you can find a place for way cheaper than $500, right? You can find a place for cheaper than $100 in some areas in Egypt. However, my audience is primarily Westerners, and in most cases, the super cheap areas are not the most desirable areas that you would want to live, especially people coming from a Western context. This is why I say $500 as the median, the average price. And a quick tip, never go for the cheapest area, especially if it is going to be your first time traveling to a new country. Cheaper does not always equal better. As I said, $500 as a average price for furnished standard 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartments, and you're looking at around $300 for an unfurnished standard 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in the Nasser City / New Cairo areas. And the reason I single out these areas is because these are the areas in which many expats tend to gravitate towards. Egypt can be as expensive or as cheap as you make it. So you want to make sure that you plan thoroughly before making that move. You want to speak with somebody, be in contact with somebody that is on the ground here in Egypt that can give you a realistic outlook on what life is like here in Egypt and what you can expect when you come here. Real quick, for those of you who are planning to move to Egypt in the near future but have no clue where to start, I'm offering up to 1 hour one-on-one consultations where we can discuss your biggest questions and concerns that you have about moving to Egypt, and where I help you to take the next steps in your journey to relocating to Egypt. So if you guys are interested, there's a link in the description below. You can click that and book your consultation today. All right, guys, and the next thing that we have to speak about is visas, right? We have to make sure that we're staying in this country legally. So for many of you that are traveling from certain countries, right, especially my audience is primarily US, Canada, and UK. For most of you guys, you are able to get an entry visa, right? It's for 30 days. It's an entry visa. You can get it upon arrival. This visa is $25. It will last you for 30 days. Once your entry visa expires, you have to go and apply for a visa extension for tourism. This extension will cost $150 US, and more than likely they will give you 6 months. As far as I know, there is no limit to how many times you can extend your tourist visa. Now, there are other visa options, which I won't mention in this video. If you guys are interested in that, I can make a separate video detailing the different visa options for Egypt. So if you would like to see a video on the different visa options for Egypt, like if you're a business person or, you know, school visas and things like this, then let me know in the comments and I'll make a separate video detailing all of the different visa options. Most people opt for the tourism visa. It's the most simple, right? It doesn't require a whole bunch of documents for you to extend your visa. It's a pretty simple process. And like I said, you can extend it however long you want. All right, now food, guys. I actually decided to do a separate video for food. So just be on the lookout for that, because obviously some of us, we have bigger backs and bigger appetites than others. So there's not really a way in which I can, say that you're going to spend this much on food, but I will do a separate video detailing the main things that people buy and comparing prices between here in the US on things like rice and dairy products, right? The essential products that people use in their houses, right? But at the end of the day, that's always going to be relative to the person that we're speaking to. And that is something that I cover in the consultations as well. For those of you who want to know and come up with a personalized budget, that's something that we can discuss, and we'll come up with a personalized budget for you in our one-on-one consultation. So don't forget to hit the link if you guys are interested in that. Okay, so now we're going to look at the schools. There's 3 aspects of schooling that we are going to mention in this video: Arabic schooling, the international schools, and then the government schools. Let's start with the government schools. The good thing about the government schools, guys, is that it's free. So this is the Azhari, system. It's free, even for foreigners, right, to enroll your kids in this school. However, there's pros and cons to that I won't get into in this specific video. Second, you have the international schools. The international schools are pretty expensive. The last time I checked, on average, they're anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 US dollars per academic year per student. So per child, that's what you can expect to spend per year on one of these international schools. And last but not least, we have the Arabic schools, right? These are the institutes, the markazes like Markaz Fajr and Lisan al-Arab. And for this option, the average price that you are going to spend is around $100, right? You can spend a little bit more or a little bit less depending on what specific school you choose to enroll in. But on average, you'll spend around $100 US dollars per month. Now let's talk about transportation. There are 3 main categories of transportation that we'll be speaking about in this video. Number 1, we have public transportation. Number 2 is taxis or Ubers. And number 3 is camels. All right, chill out. Y'all know that's just a joke. The third option is your personal transportation, like your personal vehicle, right? If you want to buy a car. So in this video, we'll be focusing on the first 2 because, to be honest, the personal transportation, I don't really know much about the process of buying a vehicle here. So the first option, which is public transportation, this is super cheap option. Honestly, both of these options are very cheap, but public transportation is the cheapest. So you have 2 ways that you can take public transportation. You have the micro buses, and then you have the regular size buses, I guess you can say. The regular size buses are, as of right now, they're 15 pounds. So super cheap. And the microbuses can be anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds depending on where you are going. And these buses literally travel everywhere. So if you know the bus system, if you speak Arabic, if you have a little bit of experience here in Egypt and you know how to take the buses, then you can pretty much get anywhere that you want to go in either one of these options. And secondly, we have taxis or, Ubers or personal drivers, which is very cheap also. So for example, I take Uber sometimes, like, maybe like a 20-minute ride. I don't know the exact distance that it is, but for example, a 20-minute ride may cost me like 150 pounds, Egyptian pounds, which is like $3, right? So you can do the math on the bus fare, right? It's only 15 pounds. So you're talking about less than 50 cents for a ride, right? Which is unheard of in your country. So that's what you can expect for your transportation cost. All right, so that's it for this video, guys. If you found it beneficial, please give it a like, and don't forget to book your consultation if you're serious about moving to Egypt and you just need a little bit of extra help. Click the link in the description below to book your consultation, and inshallah, I will see you guys on the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.